We have now our next guest, Wes. We will be speaking shortly with Brenda Walker, and she's she's a columnist on VDARE.com. I'm guessing this is going to be somewhat provocative. It's going to be talking about the hiring of foreign nationals on the New York City Police Department. And I just want you to pay attention.
Has she watched our show before?
I don't know. I assume she has watched our show, and I'm sure we're going to give her all the cordiality due a guest of the Young Turks, because she's clearly passionate about what she's talking about. Brenda Walker, welcome to the Young Turks.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How you doing tonight?
Great.
Good. So tell us about diversity as a hallmark of New York's finest.
It's an interesting value to have among police departments. Diversity means a lot of things to different people. I would certainly say that not all diversity is equal. Speaking as a feminist, when I say that.
Right.
But back to the police. The New York Times recently ran an article celebrating the diversity in its police department, and it was a little over the top for me, I'll be honest. And I have a lot of cop friends, and some of them are even diverse. You may be surprised to know.
Well, I'm sure they are. I'm not surprised at all. I'm curious. What the difference is, where you think diversity, where the line should be drawn with diversity, and I suspect it's with the New York City Police Department.
Well, I certainly think that the ability of the officers themselves should be top notch. I was a little concerned when they said they had something like a special certification or selective certification, which it sounded like lowered standards to me, but it wasn't very clear in the article. I will say that, but I did find it concerning.
Okay, well,
concerning.
I grew up in New York City. I'm not the first to call it the melting pot, but it would seem to me that the New York City Police Department should in some way reflect the people that they police. And it didn't when I was a kid, and it didn't bother me either, because I looked more like the cops than the people than the people that were complaining what the cops should look like. But I do feel like there's a good message to be sent in diversity, and I'm wondering where that line is crossed for you that would cause you to write on a website and to come on a show to talk about.
Well, as I said in my blog item on VDARE.com, it's concerning when they talk so much about diversity when that is so lionized that I had to wonder how well they were checking out some of these foreign officers, because there certainly have been problems with people who brought into the Army, the police departments,
Brenda, there have been rogue cops forever. There have been cops who have arrested and beaten criminals and accused and non-criminals for years. So
exactly.
But how does diversity?
There are bad cops, so why add to the number?
But who says we're adding to the number just because we're diversifying?
Well, I'm asking a question here, because to me it was not clear how well they were vetting the cops and how well they were relying on qualifications, their basic cop qualifications, rather than foreign language capabilities. I know that in my own neighborhood here in San Francisco, near where I live, that
this, by the way, not a typical San Franciscan take.
Well, I think there are a number of people in San Francisco who want a good police department. I never heard anything good said about Heather Fong, who was brought in originally as a translator. She got her start as a translator and then became a cop, and then they promoted her to chief because it was just really, really diverse to have San Francisco with a Chief
American.
Heather Fong,
yeah.
and she just did a terrible job, and I don't know anyone who thinks she did a good job, frankly.
But Police Chief
Brenda,
Officer Jim Smith could have done a terrible job, too.
Also, Brenda, you got to understand, New York City actually has a lot of Muslims that live there and very large Middle Eastern communities that live there, especially in Brooklyn and Queens.
And in fairness, let me read to you something from what you wrote, Brenda.
Yep.
This is a quote from your blog. You have to wonder how thoroughly the 1,500 Muslim officers were vetted. This is, I guess, 1,500 Muslims were hired by the New York Police Department. Even Muslims who don't have a radical past can apparently catch the jihad bug from the internet these days. I mean, that to me seems, very circumspect argument to say that the New York Police Department should not hire Muslims because they could actually, they could get the bad juice somehow. I mean, you know how many Muslims there are in this world, and how few of them practice this hatred of the United States in such an active way?
Well, it doesn't take very many, does it?
Well, it doesn't take very many, but to say that, I mean, this is the New York Police Department. It doesn't take very many to hire a racist cop either in New York.
I don't like them either.
Well, I'm sure you don't. But, I mean, the presumption that because you're adding Muslims to the police force would actually hurt things rather than help them. Maybe that diversity, maybe the understanding of Muslims, if you have a Muslim and an Irish Catholic, in a squad car together driving through Staten Island, spending, an entire shift with one another, that they might get to know each other and appreciate each other's cultures a little bit better. Maybe it helps in that way.
Maybe it would help the Muslims find out what the Irish cops' weak points are.
Right. Well, it could happen. I'm just curious as to what, why complain about this?
Yeah, and what difference does it make whether they're Muslim or whatnot? I mean, I understand you're worried about jihad, but look at the numbers.
I thought I made a pretty good point when in the following paragraph I brought up the case of Ali Muhammad.
Yeah, that's one person from 20 years ago. One person out of
Officer
billion.
Stacy Kuhn and Timothy Wind out of Simi Valley, California, took a billy club to Rodney King. I mean, should we stop white cops from being on the police force? It just seems like the notion that this is stirring something up that doesn't need stirring up. I mean, there's nothing. There are no red flags here.
Can I talk here, since there seem to be at least two of you ganging up on me?
Well, go ahead. You're right. Go ahead.
It would have made me feel better if the article had been allaying my concerns, but since all they did was wave their little diversity flag, I had to voice my concerns. If they were well vetted, that would be a different thing, wouldn't it? That would make me feel a lot better. But because there have been these cases, and I could name some other ones, I just thought it would be worth mentioning.
I guess it's worth mentioning. It just seems like.
Why are you so trusting? I mean, why are you so asleep at a time when the jihadists seem to be all drinking a lot of coffee and getting really excited about blowing people up? Excuse me.
But you're saying all the jihadists are one group. All Muslims are not doing that.
I understand that.
And also, I got to say, the jihadists are way behind where they were 5 or 6 years ago. I mean, a few years ago, in polling in the Arab and Muslim world, you had approval ratings for al-Qaeda and terrorism much higher than you have today. They've lost most of their safe havens, and they're on the run right now from both the Pakistani government in Pakistan and the Yemeni government in Yemen.
And there certainly has to be a point where you do trust. I trusted as a New Yorker, that the New York City Police Department and its police chief, I think it's Ray Kelly now, are going to hire qualified police officers to be on the police force.
Let me just respond to that by saying I would have thought that our United States Army would have done a little better job in vetting psychiatrists who are going to treat the mental problems of returning soldiers, excuse me very much.
And if he was the first, what about Timothy McVeigh? He was a white soldier. I mean,
you guys love Timothy McVeigh, don't you?
I love him? What do you mean I love Timothy McVeigh?
It's always brought up. I mean, anytime.
I said Timothy McVeigh once in this conversation. We're talking to Brenda Walker. Brenda's on VDARE.com. She's written a blog about questioning the hiring tactics of the New York City Police Department. So Timothy McVeigh, I mentioned him once in this conversation. I'm just saying.
No, I counted twice.
Well,
but anyway,
you are so busted, Michael.
I just said it again. You're right. That was my second mention. If you can make your argument, I can make my own argument.
Enough with the harumphing on the other end.
Well,
seriously,
I was hearing
you've been harumphing and sighing and everything else.
Side.
Look, the issue is, you seem to think that if somebody's a Muslim, they can be a good American, or they have to go through a really special process to get a job.
No, I don't. No, well, no to the first part, but I think they should be looked at.
But do you don't think that they are being looked at? You don't think that somebody who's being hired to the New York City Police Department undergoes a background check, undergoes a physical exam?
Here's a line. Even Muslims who don't have a radical past can apparently catch the jihad bug from the internet these days. So what you're saying is...
That's what the Al-Qaeda people say they are doing.
The internet does not get people to do it.
They are trying to reach Americans through the internet. They're trying to reach young Muslims, and in some cases they're obviously successful. Look at the 24 or so young Somali fellows who were so inspired that they went back to their homeland or their parents' homeland to fight for jihad. I don't see why you're thinking that I'm making stuff up here.
It's not a question of making stuff up.
It's not a matter of making stuff up. The analogy you're giving by that sentence you laid out simply says every Muslim in the world is a potential stick of dynamite, and that dynamite can be lit by the internet anywhere because they're all susceptible to it. And that's bull. I can't say it at this hour, but that's wrong.
Why is that wrong?
Because you've got about 1 billion Muslims in the world who aren't blowing themselves up and
they're
trying
not
to kill
all
people.
on the precipice of jihad. They're not constantly...
The kind of person who pulls off a terrorist attack the same way this guy did in Texas and the same way the Joker did with the bomb in his underwear is the same type of person who would walk into a cafeteria in Texas with an automatic weapon and kill 20 people for no reason. Jihad is just an excuse. It's the personality type.
The guy at Luby's cafeteria in Texas wasn't yelling out Allahu Akbar.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter if he was yelling out Porky Pig. It's the same type of person doing it for the reason to simply kill people, and they'll look for any reason they can.
And even if they have a religious motivation, there are over 1 billion of them, and the New York City Police Department is hiring 1,500 of them. And as I said earlier, I cannot imagine, and I think, Brenda, you seem like a bright woman, I don't think that you think that they're not vetting these people as they would vet anybody who's coming onto the police force. They do drug tests.
I'm saying what I wrote in my blog, and I tried to suggest, I hope they are vetting them. I would like to say again that the situation with the Army is very, very concerning to me. You read all the regrets from this fellow's from Captain Hassan's commanding officers, all these regrets they have. Oh, we're sorry we didn't do more. And then you read about his unprofessional behavior. I mean, let's not even talk about the jihad thing, but just his getting up and in front of his class and not talking about medical subjects, and his only taking one patient per week. I mean, the guy should have just been gotten rid of because he was completely unprofessional. Forget about any... I mean, nobody could have foreseen the violence. I absolutely agree with that. But he was not a suitable psychiatrist by any measure.
Well, and following your...
I'm not going to argue that.
No,
that guy should have been fired long ago.
But following your logic, then, that everybody who is a Muslim employee of any business in any country who seems to be acting a little weird is on the verge of jihad. And I...
No, I didn't say that, did I?
No, you didn't, but I said
you're making stuff up.
I'm not. I'm following your logic, and that's what you're... I mean, in a way you said it, because you said here, even Muslims who don't have a radical past can apparently, and we've said this before, catch the jihad bug from the internet these days. So you're...
That's the goal of Al-Qaeda. That's why there are all these websites around. Obviously, they're trolling. They're on the internet trying to find some guys to join up, and some have. I don't know why you keep denying that.
Fair. Maybe I'm not being fair, Brenda. But it is in fact the goal of Al Qaeda, but it is not the goal of Islam. And in reading what you're writing, it sounds as if that's the position you're taking. And maybe I'm wrong for thinking that. In any case,
I would never presume to say what Islam really is. There are a whole lot of people saying some very different things about what Islam really is, and I just judge by the actions.
Okay. Well, there's room in this debate for many voices, and yours is among them. Brenda Walker, thanks for being on the Young Turks with us this evening. Happy New Year, and we will look forward to reading some more and maybe having you on the show again.
Thank you very much.